2013 to 2018 timeframe. After that commitment, Eastman, TDOT, and us had begun working on a plan that was going to reroute Jared Drive from Moreland to Jan Way. Jared was going to be a closure from that point forward. Again, so much of the emphasis was on the rail area, materials handling. Parts of this were problematic to both us and TDOT. One was the cost of construction through some bluffs, and then from us was the property acquisition. And an SIA's intention is to build industrial land for development. The last SIA that was built in Kingsport was toward where FedEx is, and that's the traditional SIA. You're opening up industrial land. And so it's really not a good fit if you don't build new industrial land, but that was a pathway to it. So this was the progress. We're kind of in a holding pattern between 2013 and 2018. We moved, as everyone on this board remembers, to potential realignment along the sluice. Problem when I first presented this to the board is I had it adjacent to the sluice, and when we started laying it out, TDEC and EPA requires a certain buffer off waterways, and when we placed that on there, we actually ate up about 10 acres net. Even with Jared Drive being closed, there was a loss of industrial acreage in this very high premium land near all their other processes of 10 acres. So that got us back to the drawing board. And no new development, really. It didn't really fit the SIA pattern, even though that was going to be the pathway. So that got us back to the drawing board earlier this year, and we began looking at a lot of the pressures, as CG mentioned, those warehouses, all the trucks that are on the island, opening that activity. I call it lower value. It's not necessarily lower value, it just doesn't have to be adjacent to the production activities that the island has, coal gas and the other methanolysis plants. I think that's the first time I've ever said that correct. So through that conversation, we looked at land that Eastman owned inside the city, and we said, how can we maximize the SIA and assist with trying to get those activities over into land that they already have control of. And that brought us to this road that would extend from the back of the ECU Aquatic Center all the way over to Riverport. And it, again, requires a Jared closure, but what it does, which is so different than the other two, is it opens up 108 developable acres inside the city limits. To the side for the citizens, it drastically improves access along the sluice, Holston River to West Kingsport, Ridgefields. That area, it improves their access to Meadowview and gives a secondary access in case we have issues with Riverport Road in front of AEP and those buildings which we have had in the past. So it provides a redundant access out of that community. So let me go through some of the details. Yes, sir.
It's this lower right quadrant from the red, over, all in that. Does Eastman own all that in there?
So every bit of the land that you see in the red, all the way to that one appendage that goes over to touch Eastman or Riverport, just this portion is the only land that's not in Eastman ownership.
So all this other stuff in green and so forth, so all those 3 areas, they own that?
From here on, Eastman owns every bit of that, which is a tremendous positive with trying to implement the project, because we're dealing with one landowner who's already committed to donating the land, which makes the process so much faster than dealing with many different landowners and impacting their housing or anything else. So yes, one landowner.
I got you.